Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here to the start of this week's Fan Fridays. We have two crazy teams facing off right now, and I have no idea what is going to happen. Like, whenever Shedinja comes into play, things are going to get wild, especially in a single battle. In a doubles, you can maybe feel something weird is going to go down, but a single battle opponent Shedinja, and then there's also the Xatu, Magic Bounce Pokemon as well. I mean, good anti-lead. We haven't seen Xatu in a while. Hopefully it does something, because I want to see a good Xatu for Fan Fridays. And then Shedinja comes in. Things are about to get pretty fancy. For a free Thunder Wave, okay. So that's going to remove the chance of killing off Shedinja through any other status, but Thunder Wave's nice. And Shedinja actually going to be offensive. Just uses Shadow Ball, goes for a little bit of damage, doesn't hit Xatu that hard, but gets a special defense drop. I honestly don't know what the Shedinja is doing with that Shadow Ball. That's going to be a Sucker Punch onto Shedinja. Alright, and that's going to be Focus Sash. So another Shadow Ball. I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure Shedinja's attack is much higher than special attack. But that's going to be a Berry. So I think at that hit point range, it's going to be a Citrus Berry. So Citrus Berry leads Xatu. That's cool. I have respect for that. But it's going to be Sucker Punch, not doing anything. Shedinja gets paralyzed, so we don't even know what it was going to not do. And it's just an interesting little face-off. So then Shedinja has a Grudge. I don't know what any of this is. I really don't know what any of this is. So the Shedinja is doing some fancy things. Like, it has Heal Block Grudge, Shadow Ball, question mark, and we just can't kill it. But there we go. That's going to be the Sucker Punch onto Shedinja to finish it off. That's what happens when it looks like that's what it looks like when one hit point just gets dropped right there. Now we're going into the Shuckle. So what is Xatu going to do that can deal with the Shuckle? It can go Thunder Wave. So we don't have like Toxic. We don't have any like hard long-term just beat down on the opponent. But Shell Smash for the Shuckle. So the inverted stats are going to lead to some interesting effects. It's effectively a stockpile, you know. Shuckle loses everything, but then starts gaining defenses, and it's going to be very difficult to KO once it gets going. We're going to see where this goes. So Skill Swap. Giving the Magic Bounce to the Shuckle. That's new. And I guess after the Thunder Wave, yeah, it's like you're slowing down the opponent. Now it has Magic Bounce. Contrary though, so that's actually a nifty little play because you know the Shuckle's gonna want to do that. You outspeed it, and now it's actually gaining stats. Actually, wow, that like completely wrecks the Shuckle in one of the weirdest ways I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen anyone skill swap the Shuckle to try to like anti-contrary. That's ridiculous. So now Greninja comes in, and I don't know if the opponent knows what's going on. Is the opponent just like, screw it, I'm going to go for damage now, because that's dropping the defense of the Shuckle. And then it's boosting the other stats. And then Leftover's going to heal for a little bit. I mean, Shuckle, you don't expect to do too much damage to it unless you're really trying to hit it with a super effective hits. But he Magic Bounces the Toxic Spikes into himself. That's different. And then we have Shell Smash from the Shuckle. Why is he Shell Smashing? What did I miss? I don't think this is gonna work out for the opponent. What is happening? And now Shuckle's back at full health. This is just weird. I thought this battle was gonna be like 50 turns because of that Shuckle. Now Greninja's going to Surf, so it becomes Water typing, going to do some damage to the Shuckle. It's going to get wrecked because it's at half defenses, and like Shuckle's, yeah, like it's over at that point because Shuckle has very low hit points, and the defensive stat, when you start like boosting or cutting those defensive stats, it gets a lot of effective usage out of it. So now Greninja's going to Toxic Spikes again, but now it's like, okay, no Magic Bounce, so yeah, go for that Toxic Spikes. Now the opponent, actually all sides of the field have Toxic Spikes from just one user. That's kind of weird. And then that's going to be the Thunder Punch onto Greninja, not enough to KO. And then Blaziken's going to go for that speed boost. So Blaziken can give Greninja a lot of problems right now, but we'll go back-to-back Thunder Punch. Is it going to be the damage rolls? Yes, damage rolls coming into play. Greninja's going to get two-shot by that Thunder Punch. And Blaziken is getting really fast right now as we go into Marigold, which is Steelix. Alright. And it's going to be Mega Steelix. Alright, Mega Steelix versus Blaziken. Like, at least Steelix, it doesn't care. Like, when you bring in a tank Pokemon against Blaziken, it doesn't care how many speed boost your Blaziken has. It's just going to go and take it out. So Blaziken comes in with a Flare Blitz, and if it doesn't KO, which I'm not expecting it to, even with that super effective hit, that's what happens when you just have, like, the most defensive defense tank ever. And then it's going to take a little bit of damage right there, and then goes into the Earthquake. So the Earthquake, super effective on the Blaziken. Blaziken's frail, so it's going to go down off of that, and Steelix did good. So now it's Porygon Z. Porygon Z is going to wreck this thing. Porygon Z, you know, we know that Steelix has a low amount of special attack. Gets poisoned though, and then Porygon Z is going to come in with that Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball onto the Steelix, yep. It's just going to do even 30%, so non-stab, okay-ish hit on that Shadow Ball. Steelix can't take it. Next Pokemon coming in is going to be the Zangoose. So Zangoose comes in, gets the instant poison off of the Toxic Spikes, and then it's actually going to be able to poison boost off of that. And then Facade into KO onto Porygon Z. Yeah, like normally you'd have to protect and then wait a turn and then get that Toxic Orb going. But with the Poison Spikes, it's actually less damage in the long run, and you can still make it happen. So how much damage does Facade do against the Entei? Entei is kind of a bulky legendary Pokemon, so let's see how that plays. And then we're going to just, yep, Zangoose comes in, hits like a truck. Oh my, okay, wait a second. Another thing about this is that you could probably have a choice item, and that might be what's going on right here, because Zangoose could just like choice ban the Facade for absurd amounts of damage, and then it already has speed boost, and you don't have to have Toxic Spikes or the Toxic Orb. And then, how do you stop it? I guess you don't, because we just watched it take out an Entei. So that's some pretty ridiculous damage right there. And I think that's actually intentional. You know, Xatu comes in, finds the skill swap, brings in Greninja. Greninja's fast, and maybe that's also why there's Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave just makes sure Greninja outspeeds, doesn't get killed, gets that Toxic Spikes onto itself, and then if Greninja doesn't die, maybe it's... Did we see the Life Orb? Because it might be Focus Sash on that Greninja. That we can still, like, do some damage. And then Zangoose comes in. So it actually works out. And we look at the rest of the team. Pyukumuku doesn't want to be poisoned. Yeah, I guess it's mostly just, like, Steelix and the Zangoose can kind of not have to worry too much about the Toxic Spikes. And then Zangoose just comes in, outspeeds, and wrecks everything. I'm going to go a little deeper into this, because I think that's intentional. The comment from FanFry said, I intentionally want to poison myself. So the Zangoose... yeah, you can actually do a lot more. Maybe that's what's holding it back, you know. Forcing that poison item loses the damage that Zangoose needs. Let's do some damage calcs. Ah, so I had it backwards. Alright, so yeah, Poison Boost actually increases the power of physical moves, so pretty much 50% to the attack. And then that means you give it the opportunity to use a Choice Scarf, because Zangoose is just like slightly out of the stats that it needs to have. Like, it has a pretty good attack stat. 115 on the attack, and then it combos with status. So that Stab Facade is going to be doing a lot of damage, but only 90 on the speed. So be getting outsped by pretty much everything, and then 73 hit points, 60 on defenses. You can't take a hit. It doesn't get to survive pretty well. So that means having that Choice Scarf, getting that speed up there really high, making it untouchable, while also having damage boost from the attack into double damage. It's pretty much just like stacking damage on top of damage on top of damage. As we can see right here, Facade one-hit KOs Silvally. Now, if Silvally is hit point invested, that does kind of throw things off, but kind of going off the 90 bases is a really good place to go, because anything under that is going to get wrecked. Also, with that 90 base speed, we're going to be able to outspeed Pokemon like the Tapu Koko as well, and Tapu Koko will, of course, be a one-hit KO in that case. And if I actually, like, throw it down to level 50, that means the damage gets slightly higher, so things to consider right there. It does pretty good. I'm gonna say that it does pretty good against all of that. I also think that means that we do get outspeeds against 135 base speed Pokemon, because at level 50 the ranges start getting a little interesting. So that's something. And let's see what happens with the Entei. So I'll do like a blank Entei and then see what that means. So yeah, if you don't have any defensive or hit point investment onto your Entei, then it's still going to be enough to KO. So 115 into 85, 252. So then we're like Silvally range, where it's still a chance to KO, which is surprisingly good damage, and then we still outspeed just about everything. Also, it's more offensive Entei with like speed and attack, then that's going to be a KO. So there we go, guys. Looking at the Zangoose, like, I don't even know. I'm gonna be like no one ever has or no one ever was. But the rest of the team still is pretty good. Like Pyukumuku is always a cool Pokemon. Unfortunately, just like it's kind of easy to break the Pyukumuku, unfortunately, just because it doesn't have any damaging moves. I'm not talking about Taunt. You can just like keep switching through it, and then it doesn't. And then if it doesn't have a win condition effectively, which is kind of tricky. Latios, fast damage, Greninja, fast damage, and I wish we saw more of the Xatu. The Xatu, it actually had like its own interesting strats behind it because it did the little skill swap to bounce the spikes back and stuff, but didn't do anything else outside that. But it did have the magic bounce. That's pretty cool. So if you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in the next Fan Fridays.